Hello, hello. Let's just make sure you're not going to echo on the other browser windows. Good morning, everybody. This is Margaret. It's Sunday morning here in Portland, Oregon. Quite early, it feels. And I saw everyone doing these BookTube Spin. Let's see. BookTube Spin videos, and thought I'd get around it by doing a live book spin video because I didn't have time in my schedule to record. So I'm just checking again. We're live now and live now. Oh, we're muted. Perfect. So I've got my BookTube Spin choices arrayed around me, and a few other updates to let you know. So I did this last night, so I wouldn't forget all the things I have to tell you. And yeah, I don't know when Rick McConnell is going to pick his number, but I've got them assigned just in case he does it before this video is up. All right, so the first 5. So I've seen like maybe 24 videos of this thing because it's super popular within a week, which is amazing. Such a simple idea. And apparently, I haven't watched his original video. You're encouraged to group them in like, here's this 5 books for this. And basically, since the spin challenge is for the months of February and March's reading, and February already has 3 Black writer themed readathons, and March already has my readathon, which is March of the Moderns. There's a lot of books that I'm sort of already committed to reading, so I'm going to put those on the list just to get them out there. This is another way I hope people will see something and maybe say, oh, that sounds really good, which is what I've been doing with other people's videos, and maybe go to the Buddy Read sign up. I just posted the Buddy Read sign up Google Doc, so feel free to go to the post, click on the Google Doc, and see which books are there and if you have any of them and want to read them, because very much behind the if you've got it, read it mentality. Okay, so without further ado, since I've already talked for 3 minutes, let's do the first 5. So these are all on my March of the Moderns readathon list and have high priority for being read already, but we'll see if they become the BookTube book. So the first is, and excuse the congestion, it is early in the morning. First is The Marrow of Tradition. I found this at Backstory Books a few weeks ago, and it is a book about the Wilmington, North Carolina massacre of 1898, which not only is it in my period of research, not only is it forgotten parts of history, not only is it a Black writer, but yeah, all those things. So, and I have it, which makes it perfect. So this is a definite read. Someone asked me, I think it was Alba at Seriella, which book this was. And so I hope she's interested in the North Carolina history. So that's book number 1. Book number 2, we change gears. We go to Britain here, Mary Webb's Precious Bane. And this is a coveted Virago classic for those of you who like this series. And I've had this for years. I think I don't recognize the markings on here, but I definitely picked it up used many years ago. The love story of Prue Sharn in the wild hill country of Shropshire. So, sounds really nice. Number 2. Number 3, also at Backstory a few weeks ago. Let's see. Hey, look, Kim, at middle of the book march, gold foil on the cover. Not really. This is a really old. It's Laments for the Living by Dorothy Parker, and I don't know why she has that mid-Atlantic accent, but we give it to her. And yeah, so this is the 20s. This is a very comedic novel, and I've never read her before, so I want to read her before I read the other current writers' books about Dorothy Parker. Dorothy Parker lives here. She has a funny series. I can't remember her name right now. But yeah, let's read the original first. So that's number 3. Next, we have a classic that I'm ashamed not to have read yet. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a book in the Harlem Renaissance. It's a feminist. It's a Black writer. It's in the 20s. All these great things. And that's book number 4. And I see Nitu saying hi, saying we'll be reading Future is History. So is that a BookTube Spin book, or is that a March of the Moderns book, or is that just something on your reading list? Let us know. All right, and then the final, number 5 in the first one is High Wages. Some of you will recognize this type of book. This is a Persephone book. They do all their covers in just gray like this because the surprise is on the inside. You get really cool end papers, and they have some sort of significance for the time period because Persephone is about republishing forgotten women's voices mostly, and domestic themes, so things that might be considered women's fiction today. But as Amrita will notice based on our talk yesterday on Twitter or YouTube comments, I don't remember, but we were talking about her video, women's fiction and being fiction, and why it's put to the side in that way. So that's book number 5. Okay, so I'm going to take a little break from my BookTube 20 and tell you about the March of the Moderns Google Doc. So I already mentioned this, but I did post a link to the blog post. For the blog post, I have the explanation of what the readathon is in March, the bingo board, which has all these fun prompts for getting more marginalized voices, even from the early 20th century, found and highlighted. And yesterday is when I put up the sign-up sheet for Buddy Reads, because I think it's a pretty widespread belief that when you read a book and discuss it with someone else, you get more out of it. Hopefully that's true. So I'm encouraging people to look up the books that I have highlighted, sign up to read with me, or put your own up there that follow the guidelines and have someone else sign up, and then it's decentralized happiness. So the more people who are doing this, even if it's not concerned with me, will make me happy. All right, so that's the March of the Moderns. And now for our second 5. So continue, we've got book 6 by E.F. Benson. If you guys have not read E.F. Benson, you're in for a treat. I've read 2 other of his books. They concern the Miss Maps. So this is short stories, and they're from different time periods, but most of them are from 1901 to 1945. And very funny. If you liked laughing at Mrs. Bennet and Pride and Prejudice, I would think this would be kind of up your alley. It's basically showing someone in all their foibles, but in also their lovable qualities, and so kind of poking fun at manners and such. So that should be number 6. Number 7, for some little variety, I have put in a play that I haven't read. I've read one of these. I've read Riders to the Sea by J.M. Singh, but not The Playboy of the Western World, which is in our time period. And as you see, it's very short, as plays usually are. And he's an Irish writer, and around the turn of the 20th century. And that's all I know, other than The Playboy of the Western World. It sounds intriguing, right? So there's that. I read the shorter one. Did I do a dramatic reading? I can't remember. Anyway, book 7. I may do a dramatic reading. After all, it is a play. And then another variety read for March of the Moderns is The Cruise of the Nonna. So I've heard of Hilaire Belloc. He's French-born, but British writer. And I've heard about him, but I've never read anything of his. And so this is what is it? A description of adventurous sailing in a 10-ton cutter with meditations on many aspects of life. I just thought it would give me a little bit of variety and get this off my to-do list. So thank you, Rick McConnell, for that prompt. But he's also in our time period for March. And I don't know, maybe he'll have the tone of mom and I will want to throw it across the room, or maybe it'll be super interesting. There are no set of men like the men in the Navy, as Louisa says. That's book 8. Can you tell I just got done rewatching and rereading Persuasion with Amrita and the gang? Yes. All right. So here is book 8. 6, 7, 8. Wait. 6, 7, 8, 9. Another Persephone book. Yes, I got a trove of these a few weeks ago. I was very happy to order to support this bookstore in London. This is The Call by Edith Ayrton Zangwill. And again, business on the outside, party on the inside. Ooh, that one's pretty. It's like a flower wallpaper. Also from this March of the Moderns period is the arts and crafts movement. And this reminds me of the Arts and Crafts Victorian House TV show on Acorn that I've been watching recently. Shout out to Bernadette Banner for giving that free trial code once again, because this, besides the fact that it's a reality show and they try to goad people with tensions, the show is actually really interesting in terms of the trades that people have to learn that are different from this period, and just the beautiful things that the arts and crafts produced. And they're in this gorgeous house in Wales. And yeah. So anyway, side tangent to Bernadette Banner. And yes, so Persephone book number 9. Continuing with our second group, we've got The Enchanted April. So this is book 10 in the BookTube Spin by Elizabeth von Arnim, a book I've heard about forever. I think my friend Jillian is reading or wanted to read this. I think I remember her talking about it and recommending we do it together. But she's not a YouTube person, so maybe I'll use a side channel to attract her attention and maybe try to read this together. It's a bunch of women in London in the late teens who end up renting a villa in Italy together to get away from everything unsatisfactory in London, and magical things happen. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing her writing style because, once again, writer I've never read. Okay, break time again. It's the morning and I need water. Ugh. And I'll just pop this up here. This is our lovely link in the chat for the March of the Moderns post. All right. Third 5. Gosh, this takes a long time. Oh, no, I was going to say it's the last day of January. Oh, yes. Yeah, so here, before we go into the third quintet, one of my goals, my AuthorTube goals, was, before I do anything else to edit, I have to type up that manuscript. So I had had plenty of time in the pandemic to write my next book. And so I wrote, and these are the manuscripts. Kind of fun, huh? But when November came around and I had to do something for Nano, I was like, well, I already have most of the books, so how do I not get sidetracked? You don't want to get sidetracked. So for Nano, what I did was finish the plot, which finally worked, I was happy to note, and then spend the rest of the time typing it up, certain number of words per day to get up to 50,000 on the computer. But after that happened, I traveled to California. I did videos. I was doing a bunch of other stuff with family, and so that took precedence. But to move on, I had to type it up. So I finally am so close. Today is the last day, and I, like 10 days ago, counted out how many pages I had to type up, and it was 16 per day. So 16 of these journal pages, which is doable. And today's the last day, and I haven't done it yet, but I will. it's definitely within sight and I'm not going to trip. So, yeah, so this is, I think I'm at like 85,000 words. So it's probably going to be like 87,000, which is, respectable. And then the next thing I get to do is plot it out on big paper, sort of patch up the holes, note where all the research gaps are, all the names and the speeches, the excerpts that I have to put in that I just put brackets in for placeholders. And that's what I get to do during February is like beef that up. And so hopefully Sandy Golston will be my author tube pal to, elbow me and make sure that I'm getting that done. So that's a very happy accomplishment for January that I expect to be able to say at the end of the day is done. Okay, now on to the third 5. So book number 11. 11 is All Passion Spent by Vida Sackville-West. I think it's Vita? And this is for still the March of the Moderns. I'm planning on doing a lot of reading in March. I just heard Sarah at Hardcover Hearts mention this book, whether it's in her BookTube Spin, BookTube Spin, or just on like her TBR or her radar. Vida Sackville-West, known for being a very close friend and confidant and lover of Virginia Woolf. I've only read A Room of One's Own from Virginia Woolf, so a little bit more of this circle of friends would be an interesting shedding of light on the period. That's book 11. Book 12, another Persephone book. Business on the outside, party on the inside. And they also give you bookmarks with each one, which is just fabulous. Jim's here. Yay. Jim from Georgia. Cover pic looks almost 3D. Of this one? Huh. Well, it's not. It's interesting. Just painting, real life painting. Yes, so book 12 is Persephone book. It's called William, an Englishman. And this one has a whole lot of stuff going on. I'm going to be able to use it for several prompts on the bingo board, which is exciting. And yes, so check out the bingo board. It's on my blog post. I put that up in the chat. And book 12. Anything else? I'm particularly interested in LGBTQ themes and war representation in this book. So this was their first book they ever published. And so, I don't know. Special to Persephone. Is this 13 or there's one that I don't have? Let's see. 13. No. Okay, good. This is 13. This chunker right here. I did not know this was going to be so big. Another Persephone book. Oh, and Ben's is here saying, thank you. It's 8 in the morning here, so I'm doing my best. And Angie's here at 10, just woke up. Oh, okay, so you're 2 hours, 3 hours. You're Eastern. Yeah, you're 3 hours ahead. No worries. And Jim almost looked 3D. Okay. Cool. So we've got a few people saying hello. So thank you for stopping by. Hello. Good Sunday morning. Book 13. Vera Hodgson. Few Eggs and No Oranges. The Diaries. And I wonder if anyone's heard of this one. It's basically like a World War II era diary. And that's an interesting end paper. It's a painting or an art poster of all the posters up on the wall showing like air raid shelter this way, save for victory. So this is very late in the March of the Moderns period, but diaries of what wartime was like. And sidetracked. I'm listening to a book called Lean Out right now, and she talks a lot, Tara Henley talks a lot about the loneliness people are feeling in modern times and the lack of the tribe. And she's talking about one of her grandmother's reflections on the Blitz and how it was a time she remembers fondly, even though it was so dangerous and chaotic and sort of people were being killed all over. And what is the difference between then and now? And we're comparatively well off, but just feeling so isolated and alone. And it's this feeling of tribe and the fact that technology has really divorced us from that, and modern conventions and stuff, which is really interesting. So Lean Out by Tara Henley is that one. But anyway, book 13. I'm hoping to recapture some of that tribe feeling from the Blitz with that book. So we'll see if anyone wants to read it with me. Book 14 is the only one I don't have. I was going to look this up beforehand, but I did not have time. So someone, I think it may have been Leo at A Little Book Life, someone in that circle mentioned So Big by Edna Ferber. This is another March of the Moderns book. Persephone does not have it on their catalog, but I don't have a copy of it. I'd really like to read it with someone because it has a lot of the themes on the big bingo board, I believe, but I don't have a copy yet. So if someone signs up for it, that will necessitate me getting a copy. So, you know, push my buttons, push my boundaries. Anyone who wants to join, tell me to get that book. So Big by Edna Ferber. So that's book 14. And then book 15, we have one of the books I got on my travels. So we've departed from the March of the Moderns books, and this is the last grouping, starting with book 15. How an Island Lost Its People. This is about Lismore, but I think I got it in Isla. And great for research for the series that I already did. And if I ever decide to do more writing in the Hebrides in the early 19th century, this would be good. It's actually from 1830 to 1914, so it's late 19th century. I could still find a theme. Basically, it's talking about the clearances in this particular island, who the actors that were involved, the laws and conventions of the time that were allowed to push people off their land and depopulate it for sheep. Hooray! So that's 15. Okay, next break. Next break, I'm highlighting February Black Lit-a-thons and my Patreon pick. Yes. All right. So February, I don't know if you guys have seen, but if you're, oh, Nicole's here. Hi, Nicole. And Jim says it's 8 in the evening. Well, maybe that's why it looks 3D, because it's late. Is 8 in the evening late for you? Probably not. It's edging towards lates for me. Yeah. I'm an early bird, except for the past couple days. Anyway, February. So if you are looking for Black writers for February's Black History Month in the US, or any of the readathons on BookTube that are Black literature focused, there are several videos, which again, I didn't prepare, but I'll put in the chat afterwards. I know Jess Owens, I know Beautifully Bookish Bethany, I know A Bookish Realm. They all have their like double dipping. I'm going to try to do all these readathons. Seiji from An Artistic Geek. I haven't watched her channel in a while except for this one, so I can't remember. But they all have readathons that they're trying to do, as well as participate in others and sort of like get the most bang for their buck with all the books they're reading. So I'm very excited to be participating in some of those. I will put it out in my February TBR, which comes out in February. I don't know how people do January wrap-ups when January is not yet over, because continuons le combat. I will not see it until the end of the month, I tell you. But my particular thing for February is going to be a book club pick. So for my Patreon, I've started a book club. We're doing on and off book chats and book discussions. So January was a book chat, and February is going to be a book discussion. I actually started this, but then just got slogged a year ago. So I'll be picking it back up and discussing it with anyone who wants to join in. Yeah, Mitchell Jackson. He just joined the Board of Literary Arts for Portland, which is exciting because he's a Portland author. He grew up in Portland, and this is his book about growing up in Portland and the culture then. But he also lives in New York now because he's a big publishing bigwig and everything. So I'm happy for his success and hoping to get more into the book in February. So join me for that. That's on February 21st. And March. And the book chat in March is going to be about judging people by their reading. So this would be a really good one for BookTube people. The Shakespeare quote, "The clothes make the man," I wanted to adapt to "the books make the man," and have a little discussion with my my bookseller friend, Mary O'Malley, she has a fabulously titled channel on Facebook called Blurb Your Enthusiasm. And she's a virtual bookseller at the moment. And she's also with A Mighty Blaze, which I volunteer for. So we're going to put our heads together to talk about how we judge people on their reading for the March book chat, which should be really fun. Whether you like judging or you want to introspect. Either way, it's good. Okay, last pile, not modern writers, but random grabs from my bookcase that I've been wanting to read, which is what I believe Rick McConnell's purpose is. Book 16, we've got Ancient Places by Jack Nisbet. And it's a Northwest-centered people and landscape in the emerging Northwest. He's a nature writer and history writer, kind of like in the tradition of, I guess not Barry Lopez, that's more environmentalism. Winifred Gallagher, she's like a writer about place, is one of my favorite writers. So maybe he'll be a favorite writer. Book 16. Continuing with the theme of place, book 17 is going to be this. Maintaining the Spirit of Place, a process for the preservation of town character. And I threw this in because it's one of these like awful 1980s, you can tell it was before modern printing, but it's got pictures, it's got really interesting stuff about urban planning. And, sorry, it's upside down, I'm just lifting it up. When I was down in California in November, I was helping my parents clean out the garage, the rooms, all the places. This is one of the things that popped up, and my mom was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. But the next generation does, because we need to understand gentrification and, all these people living in towns. How are they going to feel like they're in a tribe together instead of isolated, especially in a pandemic? So that seemed like a really good read. So that's number 17. Grab bag. Again. Number 18 is called Breakfast, a History. This is one of the books I got when I first came to Portland, because it's a Portland writer, Heather Art Anderson. And she's a, serious academic type tome writer about topics that are very interesting, or food related for this one. So Breakfast, a History. This is my book 18, and Around the World in a Meal. I read a similar Dinner, a History by Margaret Visser years and years ago, like over 10 years ago. And this is the kind of book I love and ends up being a favorite because it's winding all these threads together of social history and manners of different times, which is like a side note for like research for a historical fiction writer, which is fun. And class and economy and world trade. And so you get all these sort of interesting things making connections with this one theme. So hopefully that one gets picked, and then I'll have to read that in addition to all the March of the Moderns. Book 19, we have another find from Backstory a few weeks ago. This is The Great American Land Bubble by A.M. Sokolsky. This is from 1932. Okay, here we get the shadow of the tail. That's Bean. That's Bean, the Satan Stealer. And, this could be seen as a little dry, but it's also a wonderful treatment of something that I really want to understand. No one probably knows this, but Henry George is an interest that I want to put into this novel that I'm working on, but I haven't found a way to. He was someone who got involved after populism during the push for progressivism in the turn of the 20th century, and had this idea of doing a single tax, which would tax land based on how much you owned instead of what you were doing on it. It's hard to explain in a minute in the morning, but someone was just engaging with me on this in the YouTube comments of a Thames TV video. And basically, what it would do today, I would hope, is stop very rich investors from buying up properties and buildings and waiting for a high price, so that people who want to do business and have a business in the community and be part of the economy get priced out. But people who live thousands of miles away and want an investment property, or can take the loss and improve their tax situation and pay fewer taxes because they're not doing anything with the property and it's losing money. Yeah, that would be a thing of the past. And personal experience tells me that that's a big problem. That's something involved in gentrification. But yeah, it's also a land bubble thing. And I've studied economics, but it's been a while. So even someone from 1932, maybe this will be like simpler and easier to understand. So old book, current problem might be good. That's number 19. And then number 20, we have grab bag book, Cod by Mark Kurlansky. I got this back when I was more of a foodie, and it's actually less of a food book and more of a social history book. One of those like connections. So far, we're in Newfoundland and Norway and sort of tying economies together and technologies. The cod has run out. A town is desolate. Yeah, I started it, and I haven't gotten very far. I'm totally cheating on this prompt. I hope that's okay. That's book 20. Basically, like, I read a bunch of books at a time, and so this is going to help guide me is like, no, focus on this one and finish it rather than float through all these other books. So that is my 20 books for the BookTube Spin, and who knows, hopefully the Rick McConnell's video will go up soon, and I'll find out. We'll all find out. But the last piece I wanted to highlight is just like a peek ahead for my channel. I have several people have tagged me in things, so I have several tags to do. I think I'll be doing Jeremy Fee's like not triple, but double tags. And I don't put up stuff on Tuesdays, so I can't do tag Tuesdays, but I'll just be putting them up on Wednesdays and doubling up. His video's up! Andrew says. Okay. Well, the suspense is now no longer a thing, but hey, I got up without knowing, so I think I'm under the wire. But thank you for letting me know. I'll go look after this. So the peek ahead is that I have several tags coming up. I have more research rabbit holes. So for those who liked the dress in historical fiction and the song, music and song and historical fiction videos, there's more coming from that because, you know, there's always things to explore. I think furniture is the one I did next, and transportation are the ones that I've like plotted out. So no, it's fine. You didn't kill the suspense because I still don't know what the number is. If you told me the number, well, if you've seen it and can tell me the number, then I'll hold up that book. That'd be good. More research rabbit holes. I'll put this up again. The link to the post. So I have a blog, which I don't really use much anymore, but I thought it would be a good place to do centralized information for the March of the Moderns. So if you go there, I have the announcement and like what the requirements are for March, the bingo board with the prompts to help you get out of the regular books, but also encourage marginalized voices from that period, 1901 to 1945. And yesterday I put up the sign-up sheet. So again, I'm doing a bunch of these books anyway in March and encourage you to buddy read them with me because that will cement my need to read them. Or if you have another one from that period you want to read, put it up and maybe someone else will find you, because that's what I want to encourage is other buddies getting together and getting more out of books, because that's the community I love on BookTube. And then new April Patreon benefit. Yes. So February is Blacklit, March is March of the Moderns, and April I'm going to put up a new Patreon benefit besides the book club. So I hope that's exciting. Here's my little like March of the Moderns spread, book check club, blah, blah, blah. I've gotten into stickers. I've gotten into the planner. I'm pretty excited about like this thing. This is helping keep me grounded during the continued pandemic. So yes. She says happy Half the fun is watching the wheel spin. I won't take that thrill away. Okay. Well, I'm going to guess. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that it's number 18 and it's going to be Breakfast of History. So we'll see. I'll go watch now and then, you know, join the chorus of everyone else chipping in their books. Let's see if I'm right. My random guess. I have a 1 in 20 chance. All right. Well, that is our Sunday morning. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and look forward to seeing you again soon in another video. Bye.